to Dissect, another episode right here on TDN TV. I go by the name of Novelist, and of course, this man goes by the name of the
But
CEO.
yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to again another good welcome, warming welcome. I don't know why I like to re-welcome everybody. I just find I like to welcome. I have a welcoming spirit today,
You're
pal.
a welcoming kind of a guy.
Yeah, I suspect that. I suspect that. I suspect that. Of course, tonight's show we got is a very interesting one, and it is interesting because if you are a young musician or if you are a musician based in Dominica, this show is definitely for you. You need to pay attention to this show because tonight in our presence this evening, we have the president of the Dominica Association of Music Professionals. You
Yes, sir.
understand?
The man
Yeah,
Shelly Shelly.
yeah, yeah. But before we bring him on, most of you may know him. Most of you may know him. You, most of you may know him as because of this song.
But what we don't realize is that we can still love those who we don't want around us. We can still love those who we may not even want to associate with or ever see again. Now, right now, I am about to head to see some of my brothers, my friends, perform some amazing music.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish that I could make a difference, but it's just a wish. So I need very good parents. Like Timmy Turner. I need me a Cosmo and Wanda. Never will I be Michael Jackson. My love is a drug and we need it to heal the world. Make it a better place for every woman, every man, every boy, every girl, every color, every race. We taking this message to put your love out to the world. Maybe I'm just too young. All of this appeared before I was born. I miss my granny, cause surely she would tell me. In your life a lot of people go kung fu. And so you are somebody they could kung fu. Forget if they rich or they poor, just give them love. And me by your love. And me by your love.
Big tune.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. The man Sheldon Alfred, aka Shelly.
Yo,
What's
Well, go on,
good,
bro.
bro? What's
yeah,
good?
good night. I want to say good night to all the viewers, the listeners of Dissect. I am here. My name is Sheldon Alfred Shelley. Tonight, in the capacity of the president of the Association of Music Professionals. Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Nice intro. Nice intro.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
yeah. we could we couldn't have your partner with us, your vice president with
Yeah.
us, but I mean, we're gonna go ahead and have the thing. So I mean, really and truly, you don't even need no introduction. After that, I mean, like, dude, your achievements, it's been amazing. I mean,
Yeah, thanks a lot.
it's been amazing. I mean, last time I spoke
Of
to you, you told me you were doing your masters and thing. Congratulations on that. You got all that situated and everything and thing.
Yeah, man.
Nice, wise, nice, nice.
so so novelist, check your camera because apparently you be talking and you're smiling. All we can see you doing is smiling.
Yeah.
So check your cam. But in the meantime and in between time, Shelly, we're going to start off with this question. For
Mhm.
those of the people viewing us right now, explain to them exactly what is AMP, what is the Association of Music Professionals, and why is it so important to Dominica, the music industry in Dominica?
Well, we think that the Association of Music Professional Um, as I just indicated what it stands for, was formed in 2007, and it was formed because we have a rich musical industry in terms of talent here, and I always say the music industry is two sides. There's the art and there's the business. We have a strong art in Dominica, but the business kind of always lags behind. So the Association of Music Professional was formed as a representative body of all musicians, um, not only in terms of being a voice, a one voice for the musicians when they talk and represent and sort of situate themselves within a larger context, talk to the public sector, talk to the government. It's one voice talking on behalf of musicians is the goal, but it's also a place for musicians to network, a place for us to share ideas and share resources and learn together so that we all on the same wavelength. So essentially, it's that platform for representation, but for also our own personal networking. Yeah.
All right. Um, so you said it was formed in 2007. So what actually? So that mean why hasn't the public been hearing so much about AMP in terms of its movements over the past few years?
Yeah. So since the organization was formed, from what from what from my study and from my understanding, it has been able to successfully do a few workshops, get musicians together a bit, and do workshops in sound engineering, songwriting, which I know people personally who have been part of these workshops, right? Um,
Yeah.
I think when the association was getting ready to take the next step to go into lobbying for even grants and loans for musicians and all of that, um, which had to go through the public sector. There was a series of events, the hurricanes, the storms, um, that led the organization to go in dormant. And from that moment, the organization went dormant. It's almost that the people in the organizations almost didn't, maybe didn't have time for it, or they were a bit, um, I would say, uninspired and unmotivated to keep going because resources were not being channeled into the organization as they had expected. So for some years, the organization has been dormant, and there was a call for musicians to unite and sort of not just unite on a friendly basis, but on that idea of a common ground and a common voice, um, earlier in the year by the Prime Minister. So from that, we decided to just take the call and stand up and be counted and revamp the organization.
Right. 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 So now, as we mentioned about the revamping, um, so I can tell people I'm a member of AMP. So there are a couple of things that I do know, but I want to just ask you in your capacity as president, what happened recently that led you to become the president? So can you give us a series of stuff that you all have done um, leading up to the current situation where there is a current sitting executive?
Yeah.
So
So
now,
essentially,
what happened?
after the call from the Prime Minister, there was a lot of informal talking behind the scenes between musicians and music professionals. Um, and we called together a sort of meet and chat and air out our not differences but our grievances in at the stadium. And I can't remember the exact date, but it had a good attendance, and most of the musicians came out in large numbers, and it was good to see that it was even beyond just musicians. It was sound engineers, sound system owners, promoters were showing up for that. So it was a good vibe. Um, and essentially in that first meeting was where we began to get soft commitments to action of people willing to return some energy into the organization and bring some new life into it. We also had a sort of stepping down of the people that were there before, or sort of pulling back from the forefront, giving room for us to elect a new executive and bring back a sort of new life and new image into the organization, which was well received, with all respect to the people that were there before. Um, because that sort of was a common expression by the prospective members that they were kind of reluctant to join because of the people. They were seeing the same faces over and over. So the new energy was the idea. Then we kept in contact with everybody, and then we held another. We actually put forth a steering committee. So we had a committee that were putting things together. Um, in the meantime, before we actually elected the executive, then called another meeting at the alias Faces, which was in attendance physically and also via Zoom. And that was where the executive was elected, um, through a very democratic process of voting. And I came out with the most votes. I think it was 33. Mikhail was 32. Um, and then we had other members of the executive, such as Colton T, Yuri Jones, Iola, George, um, Massman is also a board member. We have Adam Ford, one of Adam's songs, as a board member as well. Dion Henderson, also part of that. Mary Pascal. So these were the top votes, and then we actually formed the executive out of that.
All right. So no, okay. So you all have the executive. You are the president, of course. Michael, I guess, will be the vice president. Can you tell us what are the positions of the members now as it stands?
Mhm.
Have you all sorted out who does what and what does who?
Yeah. What does Hutu?
Yeah, what does who do? Because
Yeah.
you know it is. You know it is.
Yeah. So currently, as it stands, I am the president of the organization. Michael Anderson is the vice president. Iola George is the PRO, public relations, and Colton Thomas is the secretary, and assistant secretary is Mary Pascal, MP. Um, the which one am I missing? The treasurer. The treasurer is Yuri Jones, and there are three board members in the likes of Arad Massman Moses, producer, Aden Ford, owner of Aden Songs, and Dion Henderson, music executive. The
Nice,
board member.
nice, nice, nice. So we we so that's good. So we have all the members. Now that you all have formed, have you guys met and started putting forward policy ideas or different, like, have you guys started having meetings to plan your way forward as not only just a an executive, but what you all vision for the music industry, first of all, in Dominica, because you all represent the music industry, and then what you think, boy, I'm trying to phrase this question correctly, bro. Sorry,
Yeah.
questions is sometimes not my strong point. I have it in my brain, and it doesn't come out properly. Sometimes that happens, but let me see if I can rephrase that. So, have you guys met and have you all started to put in place your plans for the future of music, where you guys what you guys want to see happening, and so forth?
Yeah, definitely. We have actually met a few times already, and our priorities will firstly to determine the pillars of the organization, the areas that we will focus on, and we narrow that down to three pillars. One is education, ensuring that we get all members on the same wavelength through workshops and educational conversations, whether led by even ourselves, because we were pointing out that even musicians in Dominica themselves have these resources and they know some things, and we just don't have the platform to share most times. So we want to create that platform to share. So that's education. Then the other one is representation. Representation is whereby we will go forth and represent to the public sector, the government, and all that, which has already started because as soon as the um, executive was elected, we were actually contacted by the Ministry of Culture, also by the Ministry of Tourism, because they wanted to put in new policies for the Small Business Act as it relates to creative industries. So there was a focus on the creative industry, and they called us in for our input on the policies. So, and that was attended by Michael and myself. So that work has already started in terms of representation. And the last pillar is networking. For us as artists to be a network, usually we talk about unity over the years, but the networking is kind of even more important than the unity. We have people like Adam Songs who from the get-go said that he wants to be a resource to help rather than um, to just be here to talk. So, he was saying that younger artists and musicians in the game that he might not be able to identify just like that. But if they're part of AMP, he might say like, oh, but I know you in the organization, and he can help in that way. And so that those are the three pillars. The other thing that has been our priority in terms of that is doing bylaws for the organization to understand that we're all part of the organization on the same wavelength, um, and that we are governed by a few laws that everybody understands, the length of time that the executive will be there for, um, the roles of members, meeting dates, and all of that. We've also figured out membership categories because we want to cater for people that are students, people that might just be a music student that want to come in the organization. We want to cater for the legendary status people that, maybe they're not active musicians, but there are a lot to learn from them. So we bring them in on a different category, and then the core membership will just be people like me and you practicing music right now. So
Nice, nice.
these have just been, and pretty much we're on a strong membership drive because we want to make sure that we have everybody on board, right? Right now the numbers are looking good. They've been sending out emails to people welcoming them and thanking them for applying and well, not just applying but registering and showing interest. And one of the key points is something we can spill from the bylaws is that usually these organizations they have fees, and we haven't been able to come to a common ground on the fees yet, so that we are working that through for the bylaws. So in that we said that given the time now and the idea that we're trying to revamp the organization, we would forget about fees for membership for the first year, and we're just trying to get everybody on board. But even while they come on board, they will know what will be the fee for the following year, so that we can begin to run the organization on that money. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I remembered. So you mentioned a couple of the bylaws and the fees, and even the what do you call it? The many seminars they do. I can say I did benefit from one of the seminars. I actually did do the live sound engineering seminar and so forth. So it's good to see that you all try to do that way. Um, Now, in your capacity as president of AMP, because I've been listening to you in over a few interviews, and you seem to be making a very valid point about the fact that we have the art of music in Dominica, but we don't seem to be focused on the business side of
Yeah.
of of the music industry. Is AMP in any way going to play a role in trying to get its members to not only focus on just being an artist or being artistic, but get into the business side? And how are you? What do you? How do you see AMP playing a role in that as its president?
Well, certainly, what I think we can do is number one, set. I was saying that we could set standards even for recording studios and these sort of things that would help everybody get to a certain level, a benchmark, and there'll be a benchmark quality. So basically the aspiring studios will then have something to learn from the more established studios. And even through these workshops, everybody will get to the same level. And that's kind of part of the art. But then on the business side of it, we need to discuss as musicians things such as pricing. We need to discuss what is the average price that something, a product of music should cost. We need to discuss the average price that a performance should cost. And then obviously that will vary based on popularity and all of that. But there should be a benchmark that we shouldn't go lower than, no matter how popular or not popular you are. Yeah.
Bro, you took you, bro. I mean, I like what you just said there because I mean that is something I think has been lacking in the music industry in Dominica. Some sort of standardized price that you cannot go below.
Yeah.
Because you like. I mean, I was listening to an interview, and you said, in terms of Signal Band, you stopped bringing them out because of to open for shows because there was no people, and sometimes people tell you come and play for me for free,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they sometimes that doesn't work. So yeah, with that being said, in terms of so you're working. So have you guys, as an executive, started to figure out what would be the standardized price, or are you guys just still trying to? Are you guys going to bring that to the membership? Have a meeting with the membership and
Yeah.
discuss
It
it, and
is.
then go back.
Yeah. It's one of those things that we should bring to the membership because I think it's that has to be a discussion. It's not
Yes.
something that yeah, we just going to say that yo, the base price is $500 and all of what you have to charge $500. That should be a discussion because we think that also. I mean, we as the executive, we're just there to organize these
Right.
meetings and all of that. But the voices, remember, we all have to have a voice in the organization. So it's not really an idea of us bringing. We have to just create the platform that we could come and speak. Yeah.
In terms of representation of very young and upcoming artists right now, as you as going back to something you talk about the membership drive, how has
Mhm.
been the reception of a lot of the younger artists, artists that are not known, or artists that you don't that you guys didn't even know were artists or producers, and coming in on DJs and stuff? How has that been going for you guys?
Um, I'll be very honest. I was impressed by the reception from even the get go, and especially the second meeting when we had the elections, of the amount of like younger artists that were there and were even like honest and stepping up to the plate and introducing themselves because some of them people didn't even know them. Persons in the industry themselves didn't know them, so they stepped up to the plate and they introduced themselves and got themselves out there and their message, and that was a start to me. And I think it was good to see them, and that was one of the other reasons I was keen on including a rhythm maker slash young producer on the executive. And we end up going with Massman because of the votes, because we wanted the process to be democratic as possible. But
Right.
that was the goal because right now we know the trend of the music. We know that, especially in Booyah music, because we also represent in Booyah music. We know that the drum machine is kind of a leading element in that, and that is another thing that's binding all these young people and the young people in the industry together. They have many young rhythm makers and producers. So we figured that we had to have a representation, a sort of representation on the board or on the executive for these young ones, so that they might not want to come to Mikael, they might not want to go to Colton and tell him something, but they might trust Maskman because he's reading boys, and that's the kind of relationship we have to begin to establish.
All right. Going back to standardized recording, because I mean, again, well, right now I'm not in Dominica, as you know. I'm outside here, and I keep hearing Dominica has some good music. Good, music comes out. Do you? So, and I understood that you guys are trying as an executive to start getting the standard of music coming out of Dominica to be higher, so it could be marketable. Um, in your opinion, so what are some of the plans besides just training guys or giving standardized like things that they can get? What other sort of support are you going to aid to them as an executive? Because sometimes, yeah, it's easy to say something. It is, but sometimes even after implementing it, sometimes some of us don't even implement the things we learn because we don't have that
Yeah.
support system. What, in terms of a support system, what are you guys going to put in place to help younger producers who have the talent but may not have the mental fortitude to stand on their own and do the work properly? How do you see the executive and AMP supporting them, assisting them?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's a interesting question because we discussed that and we're saying how much it's difficult to kind of carry the process to the end and make sure that everybody follows a sort of rule book to the end, because that's going to be very hard on our part. And we were saying that the trainings really have to be effective as possible, and there needs to be a follow up from the training, not just training and just forget about it. What is the follow up, and then the idea of building a portfolio? That there needs to be a portfolio, because many times we do these trainings and then after the training it's like we go back to doing stuff the way that we've been doing it before. You know, so we have to sort of follow up, and I'm not sure what this that follow up process is as yet. How we're going to actually ensure that we follow on the quality and the music that the people are the players of the industry are putting out. But I just know that it needs to be a form of follow up. for now. Yeah.
All right. No. You are, so now I like something. How many? So you said Arden. Yes. In I'm going back to something you said about Arden, and I applaud him for stepping up to be sort of like a resource person. Um, how many in terms of besides Arden, who is a sound guy, who manages a sound system? Have you had any other people reach out to you and say, look, we are experiencing, let's say, the areas of songwriting, or we are experiencing the areas of production. If you guys need to use us, we are resource people, because you know how can have you guys gotten any other people like that who are
Yeah.
part of the organization already, or who are not even a part of it but are seeing the good works you're trying to do and trying to step up and do, help out?
Yeah, both answer both questions. The answer is yes, because we have received that support from inside as well as outside. Even inside, up till yesterday, a DJ um reached out to me. I was like, "Yo, I just received my email telling me welcome and whatever. Just want to let you know personally that if anything, you all need help for with and for, then you can reach out to me personally." Then I've also had through another colleague, people, Dominicans in the diaspora that are in the music industry. There's someone in marketing from UK that reached out like a week ago saying that there is a thing where Dominican music only reaches a certain point because they think the issue is marketing. Like the product is there, but how do you make maximum people hear it and consume it? So they were saying that they see that issue in Dominica as I think they have Dominican parentage. They're not born in Dominica, but their parents are. So they were saying that they were willing to help, and they reached out. So that is already a good step. And so many people are, even we have a lot of people inquiring from the diaspora asking if they can be part of AMP, and we just want to let them know that yes, they can.
Nice. Now, it's true. So now I am going to break a little protocol, because
Mm.
I know I brought you on here to talk about AMP, but Shelly, you are an artist yourself, so I
Yeah.
cannot bring you on here and not ask you any questions about your music, bro. That will
Yeah.
just be out of order. So bro, fill us in on how COVID has been for you, the band, and just give us an update on what's up.
Yeah, I
Basically,
mean,
what's up?
yeah, like for all of us, COVID has been a tough time for the band specifically, of course, because we it's sort of unfair in a way, but it's a sort of moving with the times and moving with what we can work with at the time. I have still been performing, not at the large scale events that I want to perform, and most times not with a band, and I always perform better with the band and with more energy and more vibe. The So the band hasn't been able, because the economics of it is that promoters will only pay for a band if they can attract enough people to pay to pay back that investment of hiring a band, right? So right now, the only protocol, promoters not taking that chance on hiring a band. They will hire artists. Sometimes my keyboardist will come along with me. Sometimes we'll try to drag the bass man along because we want the band to eat. So that kind of we have just been working with strategy, to be honest. The band hasn't been able to play unless we put on our own events and stuff virtually and all that. But it's been a kind of just strategic working right now with COVID-19 and the pandemic.
Have you guys been up in the studio? I mean, okay, so you haven't been able to perform, but have you guys been working on any material, like tangible material that you all plan to release anytime soon in the future?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I heard the We Want We Carnival tune, and I loved it. I saw the little clips you all be posting on YouTube, because something you have to wait to see what's going on.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
like I like I like what you all were doing. So how what do you have any works coming up, and can you spill any beans? Can you snitch on what they are? If not, we respect that you can. But
So what I can snitch on is the, the medley that we do. We want to kind of it will obviously continue because we have made it a story, and we have the videos leading up to each one, leading up to another. So even last week we were just done shooting another episode, I could call it, of that. So we'll continue releasing the episodes of that and until we get ready to release our new project. So there are like 9 to 12 tracks on that medley. I think we've only done like three. So when we start once Easter, our culture is we're respecting the Lent and the Bacchanal. So we're drawing
Yeah.
back on the Bacchanal. So from next week we start promoting again and we go in. And once we've done the medley, people can expect the next project.
Nice, nice. All right, now falling back to AMP. Falling back to AMP. What else can I ask you about AMP that I may not know or people may not know? Right. In terms of the okay, so if members of AMP need any assistance, let's say like for example with marketing and so forth, is AMP going to prepare sort of like a network like a database where you say, okay, if you have a problem with marketing, you turn to this person for help, or is that in the making? And how
Yeah,
soon will that be available if it is in the making?
yeah, yeah. Even that, we think once we done with the membership drive, I mean, the membership drive will always continue, but the benchmark is before summer to have that database in place and then be able to group the membership and say, okay, we're going to have a database that is accessible to everyone. Song systems are here, um, marketing people are here, producers are here, and even find a way to, through information. I mean, WhatsApp is kind of problematic sometimes because you sometimes might end up in so many groups. Like a man like you, Michael, you might end up in the producer group, you'll end up in the artist group, and everybody talking at the same time.
Yeah. I might end up in
Yeah,
the song group, in the song
yeah,
engineering group, and I'll be
everybody,
checking
full
out
system group. Yeah,
boy, which one boy, which one boy, which one boy, and then
exactly.
you might
So
answer the wrong thing. Yeah, I
so
understand
yeah,
you see.
we have so many people playing many roles and wearing many hats that, but we need to create a platform that the rhythm or the producers can communicate. We create another platform that the songwriters can communicate, another platform, then people in marketing may be able to communicate. Um, so that way, and then we'll have a general body, obviously.
Nice, 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 nice. This is, I mean, I have to give this that to you. You'll seem to be, you guys are on the board are seeming to be putting things in place and thinking the way that a lot of things should have been thought of back then.
Mhm.
So you all try to correct a lot of the mistakes that you all saw, and like as you said, a lot of us had little issues who are members. Um, on another question, and this one is a personal question to you. How does it feel to be the face? Right? Because right now you're not just the face of Signal Band, eh? You're the face of AMP. Technically, you're even the face of what music is in Dominica right now. How does it feel to be the face of music? The face, the person everybody will see as the head representing music right now as the president of AMP.
Fresh, let's get that. Just joking, man. Nah, man. At the end of the day, I'm honored, which is one because I just because of the way I ended up as the face brought me a lot of honor. I didn't choose myself to be there, you know, and I think because the membership and the prospective members saw that in me, I had to feel honored and I had to step up to the plate. And I was like, if they see something in me, then let's go and let's roll. And I will represent you all. And I always try to give them the disclaimer and let them know that obviously I still have my business to mind. So it's always a conflict, not really a conflict, but it's always a balance between not wanting to be. I don't want to be just be Shelly from AMP, but I also know that Shelly, president of AMP, is a very important part, to even Shirley from Signal being able to work out. So to be honest, it's the idea of balance and it's the idea of representation. I accepted the position, so right now I have to move forward with it, and I know it will come with. I know there will be rough times. At the end of the day, you have when you're representing people, it's almost like a smaller version of a prime minister. It's sometimes you make decisions and not everybody might be on board. Maybe it might be the majority, but everybody will not be on board, and you have to be able to agree to disagree. You have to be able to be a leader. Yeah.
Nice, 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 nice. So, Mr. Alfred, you have a few minutes. You have a few minutes um, to appeal to people because, oh yeah, by the way, just so you know, AMP, you as the president of AMP or any member of AMP, the PRO vice president, anytime you all have information and you want to put it out there,
Yeah.
Dissect is
Mm.
open to you.
Yeah,
Just
man.
like just like Ajmal has keys to the house, he can
Yeah.
walk in anytime. We giving AMP keys to the house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anytime you all want to pass on information or even just come back on just to talk about give an update, you're free to go. To come on. There, so during the week I was on my radio program after lunch mix. I was really in promoting this. I was really trying to urge the younger generation of musicians who are not yet a part of AMP to join. And I just want you to enlighten them on the benefits of joining being a part of AMP because they need to understand because I mean I actually watched the talk show where the prime minister called on musicians to solidify to unite and step
Mhm.
forward. So explain to them why being a part of AMP is important because I think they need to get that message. Because we just instead of everybody trying to do their own little thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm giving you this opportunity now to actually just talk to the younger musicians or even talk to other musicians like you said that have legendary status but still find themselves struggling. I explain to them why they should be a part of this movement right now. The floor is yours, sir. Take as long as you like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as you say, it is a movement. And as you know, a movement is not static, it moves. And we about moving forward. That is the priority is about moving forward right now. And we feel like the only way we can move forward, because we are already so small, we are pretty much a dot on the earth, is to move collectively, and is to move as an army. So I think the biggest part about this is being part of the army. A lot of people ask, what can I get from it and what is in it for me? But it's like your own presence is what is in it for you. You don't want um that energy to leave you down because the energy is what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a momentum around music and Dominica, regardless of genre, regardless of your level of experience, regardless of your age, regardless of the role that you play. And we also an important part about it is understanding that people, when we think about the music industry, we also always think about artists, bands, singers, musicians, but the music industry is so multifaceted. We have again the sound system, the promoters, might even argue down to the bartenders, the sound engineers, all these people are part of the industry. And the industry cannot function without them. It's like an engine. So if you essentially you have to come and be part of the engine for that entire motor and the entire vehicle to work. The vehicle is Dominica's music, and you are part of the engine, but you cannot really perform by not being in the engine. You have to come and be in the engine and let us work and progress together. So that is one of the strong points in understanding that you come here and you don't meet the ordinary musician that you might talk to every day, your partner. Let's start to come out of your box and talk to, as a young man, talk to somebody like Michael Anderson about her experiences and the place that she has been. Talk to Michael about her aspiring dreams of looking at the law of music and protecting your music, because a lot of us we create works but we don't protect our work. Protect your work, because later down the line you could be a dead man and your music becomes a big hit, and your children should be able to benefit from that even if you being dead, because you're supposed to, because basically by protecting your work you're creating that insurance plan for your music. That's your work, and it's just like a life insurance. At the end of the day you will go, and it will be there and it will live on. And there needs to be somebody like the children of the Malis, they all right, they set up because that framework was already put in place. So the framework important, we need to come and understand how to protect our music for years down the line. And for present, yes, now, but even more importantly for future, because I mean, we music doesn't have a pension plan. It doesn't have, social security hardly even takes on musicians. So we need to fend for ourselves and figure out how we're going to create longevity in our commercial activity that we do for the music.
But I noticed you bring up a point. Before I go to the fella that just reappeared there, in case to ask if you have any more questions, my co-host and my
Yeah.
boss. I like now you say social security doesn't take on musicians. So does that mean that this is the question I have as a musician? So that means we cannot pay social security and reap benefits from it.
We can, and I think where the issue is, to be honest, is because of the inconsistency in how we make our money, our income. It has been hard for organizations such as Social Security and even banks to relate to the way to relate to our business model. Our business model is not regular to them. They really see it as alien and foreign because for you to tell them that you might make plenty money this weekend, but you might not make next weekends, which means you cannot tell them what is your income per month. That is already a main issue. Musicians cannot tell them our income per month. So they find that model too hard to work with. So we have to find a way to get into the system and be able to get them to understand that there's an average that we will make. Sometimes we'll make more than that. Maybe sometimes we make a little less than that. But there's an average, and that comes with what the things that we talk about earlier. It comes with the standardizing of the pricing and whatever. So we know that the Social Security know that a musician not supposed to make less than X amount of thousands of dollars per year. So they know that
Right.
they have that benchmark. A bank, when a musician come for a loan, a bank should be able to know that a musician will not make less than that. So when I say I'm a musician, I suppose the bankers supposed to be able to look into the system and see musician there because I've gone to organizations and they ask me where I work and I be like I'm a musician and they cannot even find that category in the system. So we have to change that.
All right, Mr. Novelist.
Yes, I gotta apologize for my part.
Uh,
Yeah,
I suspect I know
and
what was the
I
problem.
don't know what's going on. Frozen again.
Yeah, Shelly. Sometimes this happen. But
Yeah,
Going
Shelly.
on.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah. Now I'm back. I don't know what's going on. I just rest down my phone and that happened.
Well, leave your phone down. Don't touch
Yeah.
the phone. Leave the phone where it is.
But
Any questions,
Shelly,
sir?
with all this like I pretty much missed half of the interview. I apologize again. But have you guys been getting like people that artists that not like people that want to sit down like the elder guys that want to sit down and give the knowledge, but have you guys had like the younger people coming up to you guys and wanting to sign to the program?
yeah, definitely. I was just telling the CEO that that we have had a lot of young energy, even from the day that we had the elections. That day,
Right.
I was surprised to see the number of young people there, and the young artists, surprisingly, and the musicians have their own little army. They watch them so like they moving together already,
Right.
and it's an idea where one influences the other. So if one decide that okay, or one or two decide that I want to join you will see the others following because that has been the music industry in Dominica for years, where we have our little cabals and that group, and that group are friends, and then that group and that group
Yeah.
are friends. Everybody bring their friend. Let's be one big army. Yeah.
Right. And that's positive. And I see a lot of that in your band, by the way. I know you probably don't even want to talk about the band. We're here to talk about amp and all that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to
We
go
had crossed that border already.
there.
You're a little
Yeah,
slow.
man.
We crossed
I'm
that
only.
border.
I always say that I'm only one person here. So if and the one person I am is Signal Band is Shelly is right now is as I'm only one person. So if the competition will always divert, man.
Right, right,
Yeah.
of course, but you are doing positive. You that means you're busy, man.
As hell, yeah.
And remember, imagine and remember right now, novelist. If you want to design a house, you can check Shelly too. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
So you should know the boy have a lot of things on his plate.
yeah, man. Trust me.
that's the vibes. A lot of people should follow that model. You know what I mean? So go ahead, see you. I have to follow lead because, like I say,
Well,
I'm
no,
lost.
well. You brought back up. You brought back a very nice point there when Shelly was talking about cabals and cabals, because
Right,
Shelly, I guess you've been hearing this talk that there's a certain segment of the industry who wants to make an association just for a particular genre,
Mm.
and yes, that may be all right, but what would be the disadvantage in having just a genre based type of representation as opposed to what AMP is offering? Because I think there might be some people out here that might be saying, okay, I might not want to join AMP because I'm a Booyah artist, you understand? But if they form a
Mhm.
Booyah association, that will work for me, you understand? But what would you tell somebody who is on the fence between, boy, should we form a Booyah or should I be a part of AMP? What would you tell them? Because you know,
I mean, it's all about the intent here and the mission and the objective. I believe, depending on the objective of the Bui Association, even myself, I already say I'll join. Because what I think is like, no matter how much we try, AMP will always be the umbrella organization because it encompasses everybody. It is welcoming to everybody. It is not exclusive. It's an inclusive organization. So when we start to group these organizations by genre. Yes, there might be some pressing issues that we might need to discuss together as we or artists. So we need that forum. But there are some bigger issues now that will not. Maybe a song system might not come and join a Booyah association because a song system will find I am there for all genres.
true.
So so at that point you're creating a box around the whole objective, and then that might limit. It might work in its favor, it might limit it. But I think once the objectives are set out, I myself I have no issues with enjoying in other associations. Yeah.
No, well, the funny thing about it is, I'm not against the Booyah Association. Eh? Let's just be straight. I'm not against any genre forming an association. But I think we also have to understand like you said, there are bigger issues because there are certain issues that affect all of us,
Mhm.
even no matter what genre we represent. So
Yeah.
I figure being a part of AMP, if there's an umbrella body which is AMP, and then you have these little groupings where you know that could work, but I still, but
And
Mr. Novelist,
one of the main reasons I say it can work is because at the meeting that we had, the election, the Calypso Association was present at the AMP meeting and they voted. So
right?
I mean, it was an individual, but he did say that he was I can't remember his role, but he did say that he was representing the Calypso Association, which means that that umbrella is already apparent that an association per genre can fit under the umbrella of AMP. Yeah,
Right,
well,
right. I remember that. I remember
yeah,
that. So that is what I wanted. That is what I wanted to see.
yeah,
To see. Like see how, because like I said, because the way it is being marketed, in my opinion, I think is wrong, by the way. Yeah? The way the Booyah Association thing might be marketed, in my
yeah, yeah.
opinion, might be
It
a bit
shouldn't it
off.
shouldn't be marketed as an against thing, and I hope it doesn't become a
A
AMP.
separate thing,
Yeah, yeah,
is either one or the other. I think it should be
yeah,
a one thing, because like I said, like you said, even stuff like pricing affects calypso, kadas, reggae, dancehall, soca, booyah.
yeah,
So there are things that everybody can be under one huge umbrella for, and then you go into your subgroups to deal with your specific subgroup. You know,
yeah.
Mister Novelist, you're exceptionally quiet this evening, eh?
no, I again, I don't really know too much about AMP. I'm actually learning. You know what I mean? But like I have to go like my boy Kel say, join both of them. If it benefits you either way, then why not? You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
But
Of course.
I do agree on the part of having a one booyah thing and one like we don't need that. You know what I mean? Some way somehow, like I don't know, I don't know. They'll figure it out, but
No, no, no,
we
no,
don't
no, no,
need the
no.
separation. You know what I mean? At the end
Exactly.
of the day,
No,
we don't need the
because
separation. We've been separated
and
for too long, and like
Exactly.
Shelly say, with all these young guys coming together, building their own army. You know what I mean? The older guys should probably take a little example, or the other guys should take a little example of them as well. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we're trying to. Who are we trying to do this for? Are we doing this for ourselves as individuals, or are we doing it for Dominica as a country?
I mean, I think it always should be both, and that once you strike the balance between everybody, I mean, everybody, no matter what other job you work, if you work as a banker and all of that, you're doing it for yourself, but you're also representing an organization which is situated in a country.
Right.
So there are different levels to it, you
Well,
want self-development, you want a development of the organization that you represent, you want a development of your country. Um, I think we obviously need to know when to separate them and know that, okay, this is for Dominica. Okay, this is for self. Okay, this is for my organization. Yeah.
right.
nice, nice. Again, for those of some people that you might who might just be joining us, welcome to Dissect. Of course, this is Dissect on TDN TV. On the screen right now, we have probably the youngest president of any form of association that has nothing to do with youth.
Yeah.
In fact, that has nothing to specifically do with youth in Dominica, Mr. Sheldon Alfred, who most of you may know as Shelly, the lead singer of Signal Band. Back in his Calypso days, one of the most, I think most crowned. You probably won. You almost, I think you won 3 or 4 crowns, sir,
Yeah,
as
three of them.
junior monarch, known as the professor before he graduated, and in his first year made a big lash,
So so
killer lash, my brother.
so
The man lashed them hard, you know.
I'm glad we go in there. I mean, it's 6 minutes after the
Yeah.
hour, seven
That is
o'clock.
not that is novelist segment.
But what I have to, what novelist? No, excuse,
No, but
excuse me. No,
go
novelist.
ahead,
Who
go ahead.
tell you to
Sorry, sorry.
mention time? Did I tell you
No,
tonight
no,
is
no.
one night we don't care
The man
about
has
time.
there for a while, and I'm checking. It's time to get there.
Oh, hold on. Shelly, you have a problem giving us if we go a little over 7:30, you have a problem with that? Even if it's two or
Um,
3 minutes,
yeah, 2 or 3 minutes. No more than that.
we wouldn't go more
Yeah,
than. We go.
the man is a busy man. All right.
No, you have
Yeah.
to understand that. Now
All
we
right.
reach your section.
But
Take over.
Shirley, so let me ask you, he's on the topic of calypso, um, you think we'll ever go back there?
Yeah, man. I didn't leave. I I didn't leave. I think the one of the reasons I say I didn't leave is because the influence of that is still so strong in my music, and I
Right.
have to accept that. So, which means that it's still within me. I just not in a competition right now. But and that competition is not because I don't want to be in a competition. Competition is healthy. I haven't my schedule doesn't allow for it with school and all of that. But honestly, I intend to return to the competition eventually. Because that's my foundation. I have to be honest, and that I have to go back home at one point. And
Yeah.
yeah, and is I have to respect the foundation, and because it's so apparent that that influence is still there in my music, I cannot let it go. I realize that it's a part of me.
Well, I'll be honest. I think if you go back, a lot of people are gonna cry.
Yeah, I think so too. I
Yeah,
want them to cry.
I honestly believe that.
So, I mean, is Annie buy your love at the end of the day, no, but it might buy your blows.
Yeah,
Buy your
yeah.
Hey, let me tell you this. It's an interesting thing, you know. Listen to me, you know. Okay, so fact. Shani, I gotta give novelist. Do you know this fact? Do you know that? Do you know his brother?
Do I know his brother?
Yes, his older
Um,
brother.
well, I'm not quite sure. I know. I
Shani,
can't think
he
right
don't
now.
know. Tell him
I
who's your
can't think
brother.
right now.
Tell him.
Like,
Of
you
course.
don't bring it up. You don't bring it up. So tell
You
him
know,
see
when
you.
you bring it up, you tell him and tell me.
My brother, his brother is a former lead singer of WCK.
A
He is
former lead
known.
singer
Yes,
of
he's not currently.
WCK.
Yes.
It rhymes with Shelly.
Right.
Okay, I can't think right now. Like
Delhi, my brother. Delhi is his older brother.
what? What?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
man comes from the
wait. I
house.
should know that though. I
Yeah,
should know that.
Shelly, you see, Shelly, I had to hold him. I had to frame
Yeah,
out
I
that
know that.
voice.
Kells, I know that. Yeah,
yeah,
I know that. I know that. I know that. Yeah, sorry. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Through Kells, you must know that.
What's that?
I say through Kells, you must know that.
Yeah. Because I'm like, hold on. But yeah. I know now.
So,
Okay.
Shelly, again, I have a question, another question that is not related to because we have left that boat. We will close off. We will close off on that shortly.
Mhm.
But how does how did you feel like being able to perform at the same level with your older brother? Like, I mean, as a young person that looked up to him doing his music stuff, I guess I do
Mhm.
not know, but how does it feel, to have reached the level where you could say, yes, I have been almost at the same level as my older brother?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, he was part of the inspiration as to why I took on music. And I remember the first event I saw WCK was at the digital luncheon in the gardens. That's the first time my mother trusted me enough to bring me out to that event. And seeing him perform there, and he had just joined, he had just started singing for the band. He had been there for a while. And but the moment you start looking up to somebody or looking towards their direction, you obviously want to get to the level. Um, and if possible, even pass it, because it's an idea of time. And I had the youthfulness on my side. I was young when I started. So getting to that level at my young age just gives great motivation that I even have like bigger stages to touch because that was the goal. The goal was to get to that level. And right now, I'm at that level. Is we're setting new goals and we're trying to get to bigger stages and to bigger events and to just big, there's higher levels.
But can I be honest? Del is my partner, But Del is my partner.
Don't
But
do it. Don't do it. Don't
No,
don't do it.
Shelly
Don't do it.
gone. I'm sorry, Shelly gone, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Imagine the man so gone. They call him and name in another song. Eh? Come let
No,
me
Make
shell
no,
sure.
no.
the place.
No, Del is my boy, and Del has achieved, I mean, his goals and everything. But
Yo,
you know, and Delhi must be proud of his little brother. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man. I mean, the difference really is, I mean, we're in a different time. And I remember there was some time some we were together and somebody told Delhi that his brother outshining him or something like that. His answer was, I mean, that was the goal. That now is his time. Now is his time at the end of the day. It's all about time. Time is the element, and that's why I say because of the time that we in situated in, there are some things that I know now as a musician that probably barely had known at the time. You have
Right.
done better because even the idea of we're part of bands, yes, but we sometimes situate ourselves in bands so much that we expect the bands to push us as artists, and we don't realize that as the artists we're supposed to pull the band forward.
Yep. Yep.
And as the artists we have to lead, and the band will follow because if we don't create, they don't have nothing to play.
That's true.
So we have to be honest about that, about that model. And they are part of the creative process, yes, but we are called lead singers for a reason because we lead in. And
Right.
when you lead, you pull. It's not a pushing action, it's not the action of the band pushing you. You have to pull from the front. So I think back in the days we have seen singers and talented singers not reach beyond the life of their band. So if the band died, they dead.
Yeah. True.
And that is because they haven't been leading from the front. And sometimes you also have to separate yourself from the band because you are a brand on your own, and it comes with communication because people see it as a selfish act sometimes that you're trying to go solo,
Hmm.
but it is a communication, just like a relationship thing. You have to be honest with your partner. So some certain things that society might perceive your partner will already understand because already discussed that.
Right.
So right now, if I make a move and society perceive it as Shelly going solo, Signal Band supposed to know that we're not taking offense because we discussed that strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I always wondered how you pull that off, because you do a lot of interviews, separate from the band, and I mean, even when you were going to school, you were doing like your own little thing in the states, I mean. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's good. Yeah, man, communication is definitely the key. Go ahead, see you.
no, but Shelly made a valuable point that I was bringing across to somebody else. So it's glad because I was saying nowadays what you notice is, and Shelly, tell me if I'm correct. What you find is a lot of promoters right now, especially with a lot of promoters into watching cost effectiveness, how to balance their books.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes you'll find they will want signal band, but they would want the whole band. So that's why I notice a lot of bands have now gone into doing what we call combos, where you have one musician or two, and the lead vocalist, and them going and do a thing. Sometimes bands have thought like that from Dominica, but I noticed that there what people don't understand is the artist is the face of the band.
Hmm.
That is the first person in the band you go recognize, because if you don't watch, because a lot of the times when they perform, and tell me if I'm correct, people hardly watching Duns in the corner over there, Duns
Yeah, yeah,
rocking, how much rhythm in there, but they don't watching Duns.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody, their eyes focus on Shelly. So I understand what you're talking about in terms of marketing yourself as a brand. You
Yeah,
understand?
you definitely, yeah, yeah,
I don't think people I don't think people understand that, and I'm glad you brought that up. You understand what I'm saying, Novelist? I don't think people
Mhm.
understand that as artists, even if you're part of a greater organization like a band, you still have to market yourself as a separate brand, because it's your brand is what that pulls the band with you, not vice versa. Novelist, do you have any other questions you would like to ask Shelly? I would like to let the young man go do what he needs to do,
yeah.
because he was calling about time a while ago.
A
So
while ago, you wanted to give him 7:30 ish. Now you want him to go at 7:15.
yeah,
That's all
because
right.
you
But
no, because you
but
sit
Shelly,
down there.
I got maybe like one or two more questions. If you got to run, then
Yeah.
you got to go, right?
I have 14 minutes. Let's go.
All right, you got 14 minutes. So since we're on the topic of the band, what you guys' music definitely stands out from the rest. You know what I mean? And I'm speaking on the diaspora level, right? Um, we get a lot of soca here. We get a lot of jab jab here, a lot of St. Lucian music here, right? And
Mhm.
when we get our booyah is it's different from everything else. But you guys present booyah in a way that it actually blends in with the soca, the jab jab, and everything else. What is the thought process of Signal Band when you guys are like creating?
Um, the I don't want to give out the Krusty Krab formula, this secret formula. But no, I just joking
Yeah.
that after all.
Okay. Okay. SpongeBob. I mean Sponge Shell. Sponge Shell.
Yeah, plankton Sheldon. Yeah, but the
Yeah.
whole idea is about craft. The word that we use a lot is craft. We use the word craft because we believe that most of the things that we want to say, we have to figure out how we're going to say it, and the how is always the craft.
Right,
And even we try to keep the music unlimited,
right,
really unlimited. Even like we have that challenge when we're writing Annie by Your Love, because I was like, boy, how Dominica, for example, was just hit by Hurricane Maria, but then other islands were also hit, and then I was asking myself, like, if I make a song and I try to give Dominica alone love, like that song going to just stick within the boundaries of Dominica,
right.
and it would be a Dominica giving love song. But that song is a song for the world. That's not a song. It's a song for all humanity. That's not a song for Dominicans.
True.
And so the craft about it was then to say that let us challenge ourselves to make a song that doesn't say Dominica, a song that doesn't say any village in Dominica, a song that doesn't say a year, a song that doesn't say a certain time. So that song can play any time of any year, in any country, and still be the same song.
Right.
And that is that is a huge part of this signal craft in not limiting the music and not limiting our product. And that is one of the, I mean, you get some of the songs in the Caribbean, big songs in the Caribbean that are specific to island and stuff, because I was surprised that Song of Voice and Kiss, their promoter, I was surprised the impact that song had, because the first line was, once a trini reaching your fet is niceness. And that was a big song in Dominica.
Yeah.
And it was saying once a trini reaching your fet. So
Yeah.
it it means that it works sometimes. Like for
Mhm.
example, 767 was a big song by WCK.
Right.
So that patriotism can work sometimes, but sometimes it's about setting the music free and
Mhm.
letting all cultures be able to share in it.
Right. Most definitely. So
Yeah.
that's why you follow up the year after. You have to make it up for Dominica and tell them buy
Look,
local.
look, yeah. And even that,
Where?
even that, um, if you listen back to local, you cannot find Dominica in that song. Like obviously local in the context of
Where you
when
are.
I do the video is where you are, but I
Right.
say there are people in Antigua that felt that song the same way because they felt the same things.
Because they're
You know, they
local.
felt that, yeah, it's local, its priorities twisted. I refuse to be another artist crying that government never assisted. Everywhere there's an artist, everywhere there's a government, and it didn't say that I refuse to be a Dominican artist crying that Dominica government never assisted.
Right.
Yeah, so it still had that expansive nature about it. Anybody, yeah,
Yeah. Most
That's what
definitely.
it is, you know. Let me tell you something, my brother. That not you see that young man there. He's not a regular young man, you know. He's what I call he's what I call he's what I call he's old in spirit. He has the matureness.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And here's a fun fact. Shelly, I gotta let him in on a fun fact. Ras Coco was a part of Signal Band when it initially started.
and you
Yeah.
too,
But
right?
He sent
here's
that in
something
the
you don't know. Here's something that you don't know. The CEO was also there initially.
Yeah, man.
So I have
oh,
seen
oh
these
you kick him out,
gentlemen.
not you?
No, yeah,
No,
that's cool, cool, and
me and those. Yeah,
I
me
know
and
he has got
Raskoku.
novelist. He and Rascal could have a problem.
Oh,
Yeah, because
okay. So that lover squirrel going far back. All right. Boy,
yeah,
Shelly, I'm glad you came here
because
tonight.
because look at this is Shelly. This is what Shelly can tell you about me. When I came into the band, I was actually trying to get the young men to play the music as accurately as possible. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, at that
I
time
was trying
we didn't have our own songs, so we were playing other songs. And
songs.
I remember Michael singing songs like All Aboard and them tracks, and we rocking that.
All
Yeah,
about.
I was rocking that,
All about.
but the thing about it is, what I was trying to tell Raskoko, because sometimes Raskoko used to jump in front like nose, and I used to get vexed and tell Raskoko, let the man finish play the thing, because it's
Yeah,
after that I supposed to fall in, because
yeah,
I
yeah.
know, and that is something I got from Nigel Henry.
Mhm.
You know, that is something I got, that you have to be when you, especially when you're not playing your own song,
Yeah,
that
people
people
in song,
know, you
right?
have
Yeah,
to pay it. You have to pay it as accurate as possible, even
yeah,
better than the people that make it themselves. You
for
know,
sure.
but looking forward, looking at the band where they are now, I can say I am very proud to know these young men. I have seen them grow from strike to reaching on Creole Festival stage and embarrassing certain acts that people thought was going to be bigger than them. I ain't going to lie, I can say it loud, and novelists know I myself am a controversial guy. You check, them fellas move from using um, virtual DJ to Serato now and Song in Bell. That is
So
my
Shelly,
analogy of it.
I want to thank you for coming here tonight, man. I gotta apologize for my computer, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'll get that fixed up eventually. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
My brother,
Hopefully we could do this again where we could talk more about you know what I mean, the
signal.
process of amp and how far you guys have gotten, and maybe a little more signal and vibes.
yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was definitely a pleasure. Always willing to chat. Always willing to talk. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
most
once
like
I
I
have
told
time.
him,
Yeah,
Novelist, like I told him, I have given him. You see, like how we just give Sky a key there. Sky have his own bedroom inside Dissect house. Yeah, Shelly moving to her. That I just tell you that already. I just letting you know. Shelly have his own room in Dissect house. Anytime
Yeah,
Shelly wants to come back, he's there. Shelly,
Most
for
thanks
sure.
for joining
definitely.
us again. Like he said, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We are now going to relieve you of your duty here. Uh, I will link you after. I will link you a little later via Facebook to
Yeah, yeah.
and so forth. And yeah, ladies
Yeah,
and gentlemen,
I know I have something to do for you, but the time, but I know I have it for you.
no, don't worry about that, my brother.
Yeah,
When you're ready, because we will keen.
for sure.
That
Yeah,
is what I don't know if this might want to know what that is, but
Me,
we'll
I
do
don't.
that.
My mother tell me stay out of people business.
yeah.
Anyways,
Take it easy,
again,
fellas.
All right,
yes,
bless up.
I.
Yeah,
Yo, no face.
Yeah, man, that was the man Shelly, of course, from the
But
Signal Band and the president of AMP. You know what I mean? It was a
okay, no
pleasure
face.
talking to him tonight, my brother.
It was.
Yeah.
I ready for it. No, I appreciate the fact that you try to get back on as quickly as possible. It was an interesting show. You missed out a couple of things that he said, but
Yeah, I'll go back. I'll go back and learn later on.
yeah, man. But one of the key things, and this is what I want everybody watching out there to know, that he did make this valuable point. If you are up, even if you're not based in Dominica, but you are a Dominican musician and you want to join AMP, you certainly can. That is one. Two, he also made it a point of duty to talk to the young people and to a lot of you young artists out there who are watching us tonight. Please take advantage of joining AMP, because certain things. Let me just highlight one or two things you may have missed, novelist. Right now, the executive is working on having discussions with the membership to standardize pricing.
Hmm.
So there's a certain price that you cannot go below in terms of accepting payment as a DJ or as an artist or as a song system. So certain things that would improve the industry, including doing a lot of workshops and stuff. But yeah, that's what it is. That's what it has been. Again, what is on the menu for next week, Chef Buyo?
Well, before we go to next week, we haven't talked to Nika tonight.
No, well, you see, whole night there, no, whole night there,
I
not
could
that,
see
Don't
Nika in
let,
the back, but we didn't even get to talk to Nika tonight.
no,
So let me
I
just say
leave.
good night to Nika before we leave this
Don't
place.
start, don't start that
And
trouble there for me
what's
tonight
up,
there.
Nika?
Like,
Your mic
unmute
is
yourself.
muted, Nika.
All right, I'm
There
here.
you go. You good?
Yes.
I see you hiding in the back. My computer gave me problems. We didn't even get to talk to you tonight.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
All right.
It was a lot of information tonight. I can
Yeah,
see.
most
It
definitely.
was very informational.
All right. Well,
I've learned a lot today.
yeah, she did, and she was paying. Imagine, I even went like I would. So we have our personal way of communicating on this platform. I was like, "Nai, you want to come on?" No, I don't have any questions. She was just sitting down
He
there
was he was
intently listening.
he was very clear. So props to him. He had everything.
Nice,
nice.
nice, nice.
So
Exactly.
we'll do this again next week, right, Nika?
Absolutely. I'll be here.
All right.
Looking cute.
So of course next
Yeah.
week we're gonna have the man. I think we're gonna do like a little reggae vibes. So next week we have the man Challenger in Iman. He's gonna be in the building.
Sure.
Challenger is a former lead artist of a Booyah band.
Lead artist.
Yes, lead vocalist. Sorry. Well, he's a lead artist, a lead vocalist, a lead.
He's a he's a
Yes,
leading
he's a lead.
artist.
He's in front, like
Okay,
you
he's
like
a
to say,
leading
in front
artist.
like nose. Yeah.
Okay, he in
So
front like nose.
yeah.
Yeah, right, right,
So of
right,
course
right.
he was a a lead artist. He was a he was a lead vocalist of the band Royalty out of New Jersey, a Booyah band, and of course
Right,
he's
right.
doing reggae. He is from the island of Dominica, from the village of Maho to be exact. And we'll be
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
to him next week Saturday on Dissect, man. Hopefully
Okay, all right, all
we'll
right.
see how it goes if my computer
In
and all
terms
that good
of
stuff.
No, well,
But
no.
I'll have
I
backup
mean,
next week, so we'll be good.
no. Listen to me now. Listen to me now. After your computer behaved so well last week, you just had to show it Balkan
Yeah,
series this week, boy.
yeah,
Where,
it's all good.
where,
It's no, it's
where,
been one of
where.
those weeks for me, but you know what? It's all
It's
good.
just one of those weeks. Don't worry
So,
about that. But
folks, until
hold on.
next week Saturday, back here
Programming
at
note.
6.
Programming note. Next week is Holy Week, and it will definitely not be observed on after lunch mix. Just saying. You know what I mean? But if you're observing it, congratulations to you. Respect you. Big up on yourself. Make sure you tune into After Lunch Mix next week. This has been Dissect. Novelist, I
Good
will
night.
see you. Nika, I will see you. World, you will see me. The CEO has left the building.